Shalom, welcome to Shofar So Good. I want to do a video about designing a power system for your off-grid location or your house. The very first steps before you even buy your solar panels or your wind turbine, what you need to expect and what you need to plan on getting. Excuse me. The first thing you need to do is consider, what do you want? Some solar panels. What do you want to have? Pastorjoefox had asked me once, how much is it going to cost for two houses to have a refrigerator, a small fan, and a light? So what you need to do, if you're going to have one system for that, for both houses, you need to get your refrigerator and find out how many kilowatts in a year or per period of time it uses. Find out the same thing about your light bulb or your fan or whatever else you want to use. Let's say it's a total of 5 kilowatts a day. That's pretty humble for an off-grid, you know. That's probably about right. I'm not positive, but it sounds good. So 5 kilowatts. So now you need to get some batteries so you can store that energy, because the sun's not always shining, the wind's not always blowing, you might run out of fuel, whatever the case may be. Obviously you need to store it. And besides, most of the time your power sources don't power your loads directly. They go through the batteries first anyway. So a good rule of thumb is to take all of your power that you need and make sure that doesn't go below 70% of your total battery bank capacity. So I don't know the math, but let's say your battery bank can hold a total of 10 watt hours. It's pretty small, right? 10 watt hours. So you wouldn't want to go below 7 watt hours. 2 reasons. That gives you room to grow. Actually, 3 reasons. Room to grow. If you have a bad day as far as power production goes, the sun's not shining much, the wind's not blowing much, and then most importantly, to protect the life of your batteries. Batteries, even if you take care of them, the current batteries are only going to last probably 10 years. Those are for the good ones, like Trojan. I haven't used them, but I've heard good things about Trojan batteries. I'd say you can go down to 20%, but you don't want to do that because that's going to ruin your batteries really quickly. There's days you will go down below 70% because, like I said, you're going to have bad production days. So size your system to not go below 70% on an average day. Alright? So once you have that, you need to have a charge controller, which charges the batteries and it limits the flow of electricity and prevents overcharging the batteries. That's harmful to your batteries as well. And you need to look for the total power that it can handle. You need to have it obviously at least as much power as you plan on producing, or however much you need for your loads. And I would go a minimum of 10% above that, which shouldn't be really too hard, as long as you don't have like some mansion off-grid. I'd probably personally go about 25% over. That gives you a little bit of room to grow too. Make sure it has a trickle charge function, which I'm sure probably all of them do. So you get a charge controller. If you choose to have typical devices that use AC current, that's like your typical house, you just plug something into an outlet, that's AC. You need to get a inverter, because your power is all in DC right now. When it comes out of the battery, you can't have a battery with AC. So you get an inverter. There are 3 types, I believe. There's modified, there's semi-fine, and pure sine waves. there's no need to get a modified sine wave anymore. They were cheap and they worked all right back when they were first coming out, but they're more affordable now that you can get a pure sine wave generator. That is going to save your electronics. Electronics are very finicky when it comes to power. If you try to feed just any old voltage and frequency into your laptop, it's lucky if it powers on at all or lasts more than a year. It's just going to make the electronics fail. And all sine wave generators refer to is AC is alternating current. That's what it stands for, versus DC current, which is just a straight consistent current. This flips polarity ever so often, and in America it's 60 hertz a second, or 60 hertz, which means it changes polarity 60 times, and there's a nice gentle curve that goes up and down. There's other things called saw waves and stuff like that have like a rapid ascent and then a slower descent. It looks like a saw. That's why it's called saw. You don't need that. That's what's going to kill your devices. Not saying that they make them, but that's what a pure sine wave generator is. It gives you a nice flow of electricity. Now, if you're using DC like camper lights or LED lights, where I don't believe it matters because it's a diode, it's going to knock it down to DC anyway. It doesn't really matter, but it's good to have the capability of having AC, right? Because you can always have a rectifier which turns AC into DC. You can have a rectifier, and then you can have a DC appliances later on down your power stream. Traffic, sorry.